Welcome back to our Bible Summary series. Today we explore the book of Deuteronomy, a powerful and emotional book filled with final words, deep wisdom, and a heartfelt call to faithfulness. Deuteronomy is Moses' last message to the new generation of Israelites standing at the edge of the Promised Land. After 40 years in the wilderness, Moses reviews their history, reminds them of God's commands, and prepares them to live as God's covenant people. This book is both a farewell speech and a spiritual reset for a new beginning. Let's walk through Deuteronomy in a clear, meaningful way. Background and context. Deuteronomy is the fifth book of the Torah and is traditionally attributed to Moses. The title Deuteronomy means second law, not because God gives a new law, but because Moses restates and expands the law for a new generation. The entire book takes place on the plains of Moab, just before the Israelites enter the Promised Land. The purpose of Deuteronomy is to remind Israel of God's faithfulness, to warn them against repeating past failures, to call them into wholehearted love and obedience. The book is structured as three major speeches by Moses. 1. Remembering the past, chapter 1-4. 2. Reviewing the law, chapter 5-26. 3. Renewing the covenant, chapter 27-34. Deuteronomy is a book of love, loyalty, and legacy, a message from Moses' heart to God's people. Section 1. Remembering the journey, Deuteronomy 1-4. Moses begins by retelling Israel's story from Mount Sinai through the wilderness, all the way to their current location. He reminds them of God's deliverance from Egypt, their rebellion at Kadesh Barnea, the 40 years of wandering, victories over nations east of the Jordan. This memory is not simply history, it is a warning. Moses wants them to learn from the past so they will not repeat it. He urges them to seek God, obey His commands, and recognize that no other nation has a God so near. Section 2. The Ten Commandments and the Call to Love, Deuteronomy 5:11. Moses restates the Ten Commandments, reminding Israel of the covenant God made with them at Mount Sinai. Then he introduces the most famous command in the Old Testament, the Shema. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one. Love the Lord your God with all your heart, all your soul, and all your strength. These chapters emphasize teaching children diligently, remembering God's works, avoiding idolatry, staying faithful in prosperity. Moses warns that blessing comes from obedience, but disobedience leads to destruction. Section 3. Laws for God's covenant people, Deuteronomy 12:26. This central section explains how Israel must live in the land God is giving them. The laws cover proper worship, justice and fairness, protection of the poor, care for widows, orphans, and foreigners, sexual purity, leadership roles, judges, kings, priests, and prophets, festivals, and tithes. The purpose of these laws is to create a society that reflects God's holiness, mercy, and justice. Israel is to be a light to the nations, demonstrating what life looks like under God's rule. Section 4. Blessings and Curses, Deuteronomy 27-30. Moses describes dramatic blessings for obedience, prosperity, protection, victory over enemies, fruitful harvests, but he also lists severe curses for disobedience, famine, defeat, exile. These chapters outline Israel's future. If they obey, they will flourish. If they turn away, they will suffer. Yet even in warning, Moses offers hope. He promises that even if Israel is scattered among the nations, God will restore them when they return to Him with all their heart. Section 5. Moses' Final Days, Deuteronomy 31:34. As the book draws to a close, Moses is 120 years old. He appoints Joshua as the new leader and writes down the law for the priests. God tells Moses that Israel will stray, but He also gives Moses a prophetic song to teach the people. Moses blesses each tribe individually. Then he climbs Mount Nebo, where God shows him the promised land. Moses dies there, and God Himself buries him. Israel mourns for 30 days. The book ends with a touching tribute. No prophet has arisen like Moses, whom the Lord knew face to face. Key themes: 1. Love and loyalty. Deuteronomy reveals that God desires wholehearted love, not empty ritual. 2. Remembering God's faithfulness. The past teaches Israel how to live in the future. 3. Obedience and blessing. Life, prosperity, and joy come from walking in God's ways. 4. Covenant relationship. Israel is God's chosen people, set apart for His purposes. 5. Leadership and legacy. Moses prepares Joshua and the next generation to continue God's mission. 6. Hope after failure. Even after disobedience, God promises restoration. Important characters: Moses, the faithful but aging leader delivering his final message. Joshua, successor chosen by God. The Israelites, the new generation ready to enter the land. The Levites, guardians of the law and worship. God, the covenant-keeping King guiding His people. Life lessons and application. Deuteronomy teaches us that faith is more than rules. It is a relationship built on love and trust. We learn that remembering God's goodness strengthens obedience. Prosperity can be a spiritual danger if we forget God. Obedience brings life. Leadership is about preparing the next generation. God desires our hearts, not just our actions. Deuteronomy reminds us that even when we fail, God offers grace and restoration. This book invites us to renew our commitment, love God deeply, and live with purpose. Key verse in closing: Deuteronomy 30:19. Choose life, so that you and your children may live. Thanks for joining this journey through the book of Deuteronomy. Before you go, make sure to hit like, share this video with a friend, and drop a comment below to let me know what stood out to you. And of course, don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode of our Bible Summary series. See you next time in the book of Joshua.